Hello and welcome to another mini training. I'm Fabi. If you don't know me yet, I'm a virtual assistant and assistant expert, and I support other female business owners put the right foundations in place so that we can work with more ease. And we can really grow our businesses from a place of ease instead of burning out, which can happen so often. And I know a big part of that is having the right foundations in place that allow us to work a little bit more gentle and not quite so intense, but we always have to be there. So making our lives and businesses a little bit easier. One of those foundations is a website, having that in place, and something that's aligned with who we are and our business and our values. But I know it can often become this thing that just ends up on your to-do list forever and it doesn't get done. I know because I've been there myself, and that's why I want to share some tips that I also share in my free guide. It's a bit longer with a workbook and it goes a little bit more in detail. 10 steps that can help you prepare for a very stress-free experience of setting up your website. I focus a little bit more on Squarespace because it is an easy platform to use. I absolutely love it, and all my clients that I've set Squarespace websites up for. It's just really intuitive and simple to use, so that's why I focus a little bit on that, but a lot of it can be applied for other things. So maybe you're in that point in your business, you've grown quite a lot, and it's just time for an upgrade. And I talk about this in different trainings as well, when to kind of notice when is the time to upgrade. But maybe your website just doesn't reflect who you are, what you do anymore as well, as it used to, and or it's too complicated to use. So it's time for an upgrade, but it ends up on your to-do list. It feels overwhelming because I know there's a lot of things to consider. So where do you even start with your new website? So I wanted to share those kind of 10 tips, so this is really just a little overview. If you want to go more into detail with little prompts as well to, it's a full workbook, you can download my free guide. Just if you comment website below, I'll make sure you get it. So first step, and I think that's really important, to really clarify your goals and intention. You want to be clear on why you're setting up this website. What is it for? What is the main purpose? And everything on your website basically leading to that. So we often go into websites sharing a lot about ourselves, which is equally important, but ultimately it's to help your client to navigate your website really easily, and you have a purpose. So you want them to book maybe a call or fill out a form. So that's kind of your purpose, where you're leading people to. And everything on your website kind of reflects that. So being very clear from the beginning on what is your goals and intentions of this website. You want class bookings, you want event bookings, you want one-to-ones. What do you want your clients to do your potential clients to do when they're on there? Is really important. It will make it much easier to then kind of lay out structures later. Step 2, look for inspiration, and that's not about copying, but starting from nothing can be really overwhelming. So just looking around a little bit within your industry and seeing what you like and what you don't like. Again, it's not about copying, except other people's websites. Obviously, shouldn't be doing that, but it's about getting an inspiration, the feel of different websites. What do you like? And I talk a lot about nervous system friendly websites. I feel like you can often get a feeling, so this feels really overwhelming and scattery, or this feels calm, this feels nice, and kind of getting a sense for what feeling you want for your website, kind of reflecting your personality. And it helps to just see a little bit, how did other people do it? What do I like, what don't I like, and being really clear about that. Step 3, start collecting your content and resources. And this isn't about going super into detail, but really collect what you have. And especially if you're upgrading, you might already have a lot of content that maybe just needs later kind of rewriting. But seeing what you have, collecting your resources, collecting your freebies, your having your color palette ready, and I'll go into that later as well, but having kind of your brand colors ready, having your photos that you want for the website, having quotes and testimonials, having that all prepared and ready. So if you're doing it later, if you're setting it up, it's all there, and you can also see what's missing, and then later on you can work on the missing parts or the parts that need changing. Which then helps with the next step. So step 4, plan out your website structure. And this can be a really creative process, so you don't need a platform yet. Get a pen and paper and draw it out. Again, kind of drawing back from the inspirations you looked at, the content and the resources that you have, and then start planning out your website structure. What do you want it to look like? What is leading to what? And just have a play with it. And that might be quite an ongoing process. So you might start doing your kind of first layout, and then you leave it, come back to it, and then you kind of do that over and over again, and that until it feels sort of right. It doesn't need to be perfect. It'll change later anyway when you kind of set it up and maybe find different aspects. But having a rough idea of kind of the pages that you have, how they link to each other, and what you want displayed on each page can be really helpful on this at this stage. And then from that, I would invite you to just do a little bit of keyword research, and there's some great pages. I think I mentioned one as well in the free planner. Doing some keyword research, because that's really important to integrate them into your website. And then if you just do the search first, you know kind of what's important to bring into your website, can be really helpful and make that much easier down the line. Then when it comes to kind of starting to set up the platform a little bit more, again, I'm referring to Squarespace. Initially, you get a chance to kind of choose a template on there. You can't change that, but within that you have space to customize, so don't get too stuck on it. But it just can be really helpful, especially if you're doing it all by yourself, to have a little bit of a structure given. So yeah, having a little browse through their templates, choosing one, there is a degree of, you can't go back and choose and change the template once you've chosen one, but there's a degree of lots of customization, so you're not too stuck with it. But again, it gives you a little bit of inspiration and helps you as a good starting point. Right, from here I would go in and for step 7, customize your colors and your fonts, so they'll be set up in a way through the template. And you might want to change them, bring your brand colors in. And with that as well, I would say, especially if you're not too sure on your brand colors and how it all kind of works together on the website, set something up and then you can change them again later. It's not set in stone. I find once they're on the website, it can sometimes feel different, or I had a lot of times that then certain colors just don't work. Or, they might work as a title, but they might not work as like a full background. It just feels too intense. So having a little play with it. There's generally 5 kind of main colors on Squarespace, but you can customize themes and get more colors into it as well. So it's really great to get a bit of a variety into it. Then step 8 comes the point. I know that, well, it depends. Some people really like it, some don't. It's the writing your copy. Based on the structure kind of in step 4, that you've created a bit more of a structure. You know which resources and content you have from step 3. Now it's time to write the copy of the stuff that is missing. So obviously where we've done the pre-work, you know what you have, you know what's missing, you know roughly the page layouts. You can start going into the copy, and again, that doesn't need to be the final piece, but starting to draft a little bit for those different sections can be really helpful at this stage, which then makes it later to bring it all together when you're setting it up. Now that it's coming more to the time to actually set everything up on the website, explore the features a little bit first and just have a play with it. Kind of my 2 last bonus points are number 9, allow more time. We often try to do these things in a very short amount of time and then get really, really stressed, try to do everything at once and get overwhelmed. So do allow a bit more time. However, also allocate time, because if we don't allocate time, it doesn't happen. If we have too much of a time frame, it just drags on forever, and we don't want that either. But allocate time within your week that you work on it, and then leave it, because otherwise it gets either too consuming or it just doesn't get done if we don't make space for it. And then the last point, and I think that's an important one, make it a fun process. It can become so serious, and ultimately, you want to reflect your values, your personality, and really bring that into your website. So the process kind of also needs to reflect that, I find. So if we make it too serious, it kind of comes out in the website. And I think one thing to consider is, it's not a once done and dusted thing. It's not set in stone. I think that's why it becomes so serious. Sometimes we think we have to create this one perfect thing. But your website will still evolve over time. There'll be, you'll be offering different services. Your work will develop again, just like it has before. So don't see it as just this, I got to get this perfect and right, but rather as of, it's a structure, it's your outline, and then you can work with it. It's going to evolve, you can change things, nothing is, set on it. I've changed my colours and pictures on my websites multiple times because I've set it up, and after a while it didn't feel quite right. Sometimes we need to see it in action, we need to see it there, and then change it over time because we notice, okay, no, that doesn't actually feel quite right. So make it a bit more fun, put some music on, light some candles, make it cozy, and do short increments working on it before you get to the point where you're really stressed and frustrated. Take a break and then come back to it. So these are just a few things to get started, and this is really the preparation work. And I know it can sound a lot, but if we break it down and do it, step by step, and then it comes to the actual setup, it makes that process much easier. And as I said, there's a free guide to support you through that, with more kind of space to go through the questions as well. So I invite you to just download that. Just come on the website if you want the free guide to, each of those points goes a bit more into depth to support you through that. And then hopefully at the end of it, actually setting it up will be really easy. If you still get to the point where you think, actually just don't have time, you've done the prep work, but you don't have time to set it up, get in touch. I'd be very happy to set it up for you. I absolutely love doing that work, and I can also help you with the preparation work if you're stuck there. So I would love to know, as always, what's your biggest takeaway of today's session? Just comment below or message me. And yes, if you like the free guide, come at website, I will share it with you. And I hope you enjoyed today's mini training, and I will see you again soon in another session. Take care.